Hi, my name is Billie Joe. I'm with Johnston's Home Center, and I'm going to spend a little time today and show you some of our new top-of-the-line machines that we've just gotten in, and some of our regular sewing machines, quilting machines, sergers, and embroidery machines. So today, the first thing we're going to showcase is our XP2, which is our Luminaire 2 by Brother, and this is going to be a machine that caters to sewers, quilters, and embroiderers, and it even allows you to take a piece of artwork, scan it, and stitch it. So we are going to kind of showcase a little bit about the machine, tell you some quick features. Number one, the quilter needs throat space, so this is 13 inches of throat space. It has self-threading needles, so if I take my needle threader, touch that button, it's going to drop and thread. It also comes with the dual feet attachment. The dual feet attachment is what replaces what we would normally use as a call a walking foot. This is a dual feet attachment that has a belt that continually rolls on your fabric for perfect stitch placement, no puckering. It sews through your thicknesses. It just glides right over, and it never comes off the fabric, so it's a constant feed on the top and the bottom. It also has a 10-inch tablet screen. This tablet screen is an easy touch, so when you touch the screen, your sewing screen comes up. This machine has a projection feature, so if I turn that on and place whatever it is that I'm wanting to stitch under the foot of the machine, it shows a visual of the stitch. So if I'm wanting to do a decorative stitch, I can open up the decorative stitch. It's going to showcase the stitch. I have capability of changing the color, so if I need to see a different color for better visual, I can do that as well. I can change the width and the length as well on this projection tool. I also have a guideline feature on this machine, and this caters to the quilter and the decorative stitcher. The guideline will allow me to set up a grid. It will also allow me to set up angles, and I can do a 90 degree, 60 degree, or 45 degree. These are all things that cater to this machine that other machines in our lineup do not have. In the embroidery side of the machine, we're going to just go into the home screen, open up our embroidery. Our embroidery side is going to be give us the capability to embroidery 16 by 10 5/8 inches. We cater heavily to the person that wants to embroidery and quilt. So on this is going to allow you the capability to import a pattern, either by wireless feature or by USB. It allows you to go into your edit. It allows you to generate quilting around it, and you can either generate a stipple stitch like we've just done here. You can change the spacing. You can also generate an echo quilt, or you have 42 other decorative fills that you can generate quilting around, and it's as easy as touching these 3 buttons. You also have the capability to go in, if you want to, and take a piece of artwork. And this is just a pattern that is actually meant to be hand embroidery. So I've taken the clip art, I put it on my scan tablet, and then I'm going to come into my design center, and we're going to scan this in. And when this scans in, I'm going to, at that point, take a little time and go in, and I can play with decorative outlines and decorative fills, and this is what it's going to look like once I'm done. So these are all features that the Luminaire 2 are going to cater to and allow you to have. You've got the extra large embroidery, which is your 16 by 10 5/8 embroidery field. You have the capability to scan artwork. You have the capability to edit on screen, and you also have the capability to go in and generate your own quilt borders. For those of you that like to use the embroidery machine or want to use the embroidery machine for your edge-to-edge quilting, the XP2 is going to be the machine for you to be able to do that. You can create your edge-to-edge quilting. You can also create up to 118-inch borders, and you can do your regular embroidery all with one machine. Sew, quilt, and embroidery on the XP2. Come see us at Johnston's. So now we are at the sergers, and I wanted to share a little bit about what sergers we carry in our store. We carry the Juki line, we carry the Baby Lock line, and in my opinion, everybody needs a serger. The reason I love sergers is because it gives you a nice finished edge, and it gives you a tailored look, and it gives you quality that adds to your craft. So today I'm going to show you how easy a serger can be to use, and I'm using the Baby Lock Triumph. Some features about the Baby Lock Triumph that you want to know about that separates it a little bit from other sergers is, number one, it has a variable speed control like your sewing machine. So you can control how fast or how slow it sews. It also has a 5-inch workspace. So you have an area to be able to pull in more fabric if you're utilizing your cover stitch or chain stitch for your quilting or decorative side of the serger. It also has self-threading loopers. Yay! Self-threading loopers are what everybody just wants to just celebrate over, because if you have a regular serger with no self-threading loopers, that means you have to be able to manually thread all of this. And then it also has self-threading air needles. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up a serger, to do a 4-thread overcast, and how to do a rolled hem with my air threading loopers and my air threading needles. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you will draw your attention to my loopers, this right here, my machine is color coded, and it tells me where to put my thread. So I'm going to go in and put this in a threading mode, rotate a flywheel, and I have little ports down here, and I don't think you're going to be able to see those on the video, but they're little metal tubes that close. And so we're just going to take our thread and we're going to lay it straight down, and we're going to take our thread and put it into the lower looper port, and we're going to touch this button, and that looper is threaded. Now we're going to do the upper looper. So we're going to come straight down, put our thread in the upper looper port, touch this button, and now our upper looper is threaded. That is the hardest thing for people that have regular sergers, is learning how to utilize, how to thread their loopers. Now I'm going to be able to thread my needles in the same way. I'm going to pull this needle threading mechanism down, and I'm going to take my thread, and I'm going to come into the guide, and I'm going to touch this button, and it's going to suck that thread through, and it's threaded the needle. So now I'm going to pull that back down again, and I'm going to thread the number 1 needle. I'm going to cut this thread off at the end of the table, touch this button, and let that suck my thread right through, and now both needles are threaded. So this serger also has no tensions. So on a regular serger, you have to go in and tweak the tensions for every stitch. So I have this set up for a 4-thread overlock. And a 4-thread overlock is going to give me a finished seam, and it's cutting off the excess of my fabric, so it'll be nice and tidy. Speed control is also a very nice feature, and I also have knee lift. Now this is my decorative 4-thread overlock, which would be a finished edge, and a lot of times people, when they're doing a 4-thread overlock, they'll have a loop. Just open up the width of your stitch a little bit, and that'll eliminate that. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to do a rolled hem. So to do a rolled hem, I'm going to have to come in and remove one of my needles. So I'm going to lift this up, and I'm just going to take out needle number 1. Oh, and I unthreaded my needle number 2, but no reason to fret. On a baby lock serger, all you have to do is fix the problem. On your regular serger, you would have to completely start over. So we'll come in here and rethread that needle. And if you're like me, you can't see anymore. So that air threading needle is wonderful. So now with a rolled hem, we have got to go in and make a few adjustments on our machine. So we have a little quick threading chart that we want to reference to make sure that we do this right. And we're going to go in and rotate this around to a rolled hem. There's no plate to replace. There's no switch to change. You just rotate the wheel. And we're going to take our stitch selector down to D. And we should now be ready to do a rolled hem. And a rolled hem is just putting a very pretty little finish on my stitch, on my fabric. So that's how easy a baby lock serger can be. Self-threading loopers, air threading needles, no tensions, a depth for the person that's going to use the cover stitch, chain stitch in their quilting, variable speed control, and the capability to utilize the serger without any frustration. Come see us at Johnston's and we'll show you all about our sergers, and we'll also encourage you to take our monthly training classes. Hey guys, okay, so now we are over in our long arm area. The long arms that we carry at Johnston's are the Baby Lock Regalia, the Juki J350. Both of those machines come on a 10-foot frame. And then we also carry 2 mid arms. We carry the Brother Quilters 15 and the Baby Lock Cornet, which is a 16-inch machine. Both of those machines come on 5-foot frames. The Regalia comes on a 10-foot frame with the option of being able to add a 2-foot extension, and so does the Juki. This is our Regalia, and the Regalia is a machine that is going to give you the capability for free motion quilting with stitch regulation, and with the option of adding your robotics or your automated system to be able to do quilting generated by the computer. So on our machine, this is a 20-inch machine that allows you about 17 and a half inches of quilting from front to back. It also is going to be a machine that is going to have a bobbin sensor feature. It has a USB function so that you can keep the machine updated, and it also gives you the capability for extreme lighting. We've kind of got our lighting turned down right now just due to our filming, but you have a lighting mechanism that lights up that entire bed. So this does use an M-style bobbin. It does have an LCD screen. Some cool features about it is you can rotate the flywheel on the front screen without having to get to the back side of the machine. It's completely wireless. You don't have any encoders. They're all going to be generated by the back side on the carriage. So we do, on this machine, offer ProStitch software. ProStitch software is going to be your software that you can create your own quilt. You can do block quilting, crop quilts. You can do edge to edge. You can do your borders. And so ProStitch is a program that works with the Baby Lock. On our Juki machine, we offer the Quilt Motion software. Both of those machines, we have monthly training provided for our customers. So when you purchase your machine in our store, we have monthly training that provides you how to use the software to keep you encouraged, to keep you motivated, and keep you just up on the latest of what your software and machine can do. So We're going to do a little setup here. I've just got a small wall hanging, and I want to do just a little setup and show you how Pro Stitch works and give you a little bit of encouragement and excitement and invite you in to come look at these machines. So now what I'm going to show you is a little bit of how Pro Stitch software or any kind of automation software works and how you would set it up. So what I've got on here is just a small wall hanging, and yes, it does have applique, it does have embroidery on it, and you can stitch right through that. That's not going to be a problem at all. So certain quilts, you might choose to take each block and quilt that block, or you could do edge to edge, or you could come into your block and you could crop around that block. So what I'm going to show you is just an easy, simple how we set up an edge to edge. And the first thing that we would do is go in and we would set up our area so that we would know how big the quilt was. So to do that, you would go into your area and you would set the 2 points, and I've already done that. So what I went into is I went to area, I set point 1, I set point 2, and that says that my quilt is 37.98 inches wide. And then I would go in and I would measure the quilt. And we're going to say this little quilt's about 45 inches. And we would just program that in and hit the home screen. And this right here would generate what your quilt would look like. Then you would simply go in and go to File and Design. You would open up your embroidery, your quilt patterns, and you can also import quilt patterns just like you would embroidery. And you would go in, pick up whatever pattern it is that you want to do. We'll just pick the spiral and touch open. And then when we go into a repeat, we would repeat this and fill. And then we would go to a vertical and stretch and fill. And at that point, you could have a peek at what your pattern looked like. If it looks good and you're satisfied with it, you would simply go in at that point and you would set your baseline and you'd be ready to stitch it. And so you would go to Pro Stitch and sew, and the machine would move to the far right corner and it would stitch from right to left, and then it would stop. You would trim your fabric, and then it would move back to the right, and it would stitch right to left until it needs to be rolled. And then you have features on the software that allows you to drop your needle, drag your quilt, and start up again. And at the end of it, you've got a beautiful quilt that you pieced and you quilted all on the machine. Come and see us at Johnston's. We appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you are our multi-needle machines. We carry 2 different lines of multi-needle machines. We carry the Brother and we carry the Baby Lock. Each line has a single needle machine that has an 8x8 embroidery field. That means it can do 8x8 and smaller. Each machine has a 6 needle, which will do 12 inches by 8 inches and smaller. And then each line has a 10 needle that will do 14 by 9.5 and up to 14 by 14 inch embroidery. So the differences between the machines, these are all our multi-needles, and the differences between the machines is that single needle is 1 color, but the cool thing about this machine is you can edit on screen, and it does have a laser drop light to help you find center positioning, but its limitation is the 1 needle, and it's only 8x8 embroidery. But it's great for baby onesies, it's great for stockings, it's great for somebody that already has a lot of technology and a top-of-the-line embroidery machine. They now have that embroidery tubular arm, So like if you had something like this project where you wanted to embroidery on the pocket, that pocket just slips over that arm. You can go into a 6 needle, and a 6 needle is going to be a machine that's going to give you 6 needles. It has a much faster processor. It does have the sizing software on the machine so that it will size a pattern up to 100% or down 60%. The single needle does not have that. And it does a 12-inch by 8-inch embroidery field, so it's much larger in embroidery. Same thing here. I take my project that I want to do the pocket. I can lift this up, slip this on, and lock this down. A 6 needle also has a laser drop light for placement. And it does give you that sizing software feature. Then the next level, and they both will do hats. They both will do hats. The next level would be your 10 needle, and in the 10 needle brother or baby lock line, they're going to do up to a 14 by 9.5 inch embroidery field. This machine is a much different machine from the 6 and the single needles because it also has Design Center, so you can take artwork, clip art, photos, and you can either import them by a USB or scan them on the scan tablet, and it actually will create that. But you can also use the Design Center technology for people that want to use this machine for edge-to-edge quilting. They want to import a pattern that generates a stipple around that pattern. But the cool thing about it is it takes all of the work out of the embroidery placement. So on a 6 needle and a single needle, these machines down here, you have to be able to hoop straight. On a 10 needle, it has the camera technology, and it uses what's called the snowman placement stickers. And so if you mark your embroidery where the center needs to be, put it on the frame and place that sticker down, then you touch your screen and your camera, and the camera moves to that placement so that your embroidery is perfectly placed and you don't have to be a good hooper. You also have the capability to, on this level of machine, all of these machines, we can do things like ball caps by using cap frame assemblies. We can do sleeves. We can do flat surface projects. And so it opens up a lot of different capability that you might not be able to do or achieve on your home machine because of the embroidery tubular feature. A lot of people use these machines to run commercial embroidery businesses, but I also have a lot of customers that they just want to be able to do any kind of embroidery without limitation, so they want that arm. And so this is where they would go. Great machines. Brother and Baby Lock have the single 6 and 10 needle machines. I hope I've explained a little bit of it to you. I hope you would come into our store and let us show you these machines. And I also want to remind you that we have monthly training to teach you how to use them. Come and see us. So we've talked about our combination machines, our machines that sew, quilt, and embroidery. So now we're over in our machines that are just our sewing machines, our machines that are going to give you the capability to have a good sewing machine, a good quality sewing machine, but maybe caters to just the garment constructor or the garment constructor that does quilting, or just somebody that wants to quilt. If you're looking for just a regular machine that maybe have a little extra throat space, but you don't want all of the bells and whistles, we have those. We carry machines, the Brother, the Baby Lock, and the Juki. And I'm standing in front of some of our basic Brother machines, regular Brother machines. Our price ranges are going to start as low as $110. This is going to be our Novus line, that these machines are going to cater to sewing and quilting. So both of these units have an 8-inch throat space. They have self-threading needles, variable speed, automatic thread cutting. When you step up to the PS700, this is going to be a machine that's going to even come with an extension table and a walking foot and some of your quilting accessories. These are going to be sewing, embroidery, small introduction machines for somebody that wants to dabble in a little bit of both. And then this is just an embroidery only. We carry some of the same options in the Baby Lock line and the Juki line. So come see us at Johnston's Home Center. And not to forget, we teach you how to use your machine. So the last thing I want to show you today is the Brother Scan and Cut. The Brother Scan and Cut is a machine that will work hand in hand with the customer that wants to cut vinyl, that wants to cut cardstock, wants to cut fabric. They can etch glass with it. They can do calligraphy with it. It just goes on and on and on. These are just some of the samples that I've got set up. The cool thing about the Brother Scan and Cut is that it also works for those that have embroidery machines, their embroidery software. We've got a heat transfer vinyl that we've done on the shirts. We've cut our applique for our embroidery machine, and we've cut cardstock over here. So training is available for our Scan and Cut customers here in the store. We have all kinds of classes, and we want to encourage you to come and shop with us. The last thing I want to show you is our fabric. We have a beautiful fabric selection that we have really had a good time bringing in, and we have a beautiful selection. We carry all of your top of the line brands, and so we hope you take some time, travel to Johnston's, and I want to remind you that we have been in business since 1979. We sell and service all our products. Thanks and have a great day.